CPI numbers for 2021, 7% is where we ended up. The highest reading since 1982. And of course, if we still measured consumer prices using the same CPI that we had in 1982, it would have been about 15%, the worst year ever for inflation. Well, today I want to start off talking about the producer prices because on Thursday we got the December numbers. And in fact, this number was actually up a little less than estimates on the headline. They were looking for an increase of 0.4, which would have followed 0.8 for the prior month. Now, the prior month, November, was actually revised upward to 1%, but we only got a 0.2% increase for December. And so that meant that the year-over-year increase was 9.7%, which was higher than the 9.6% year-over-year number for November, but slightly below the 9.8% that had been estimated. But the main reason for the smaller than expected rise was a big drop in gasoline prices that really held down the number. In fact, if you X out gas prices and just look at the core, there we came out at up 0.5, which met expectations, and with an upward revision to November from 0.7 to 0.9, the year-over-year core PPI rose by 8.3% versus 7.7 in the November month and ahead of the 8% that had been estimated. So overall, I think this number was a bit hotter than expected, despite the fact that the headline number missed. But if you look at what's happened to oil prices so far this year, we've got an 11% increase in oil prices in the last 2 weeks. That is a big move. That is going to really push up gasoline prices in January. And so I think we're going to see a big print for January that's going to totally erase the fact that we got a lower than expected number in December. And I think a lot of the traders recognize that. And so that's why they're dismissing that number, realizing that, the real number is hotter due to this surge in oil prices, which looks like it's going to continue. In fact, oil prices closed above $83 a barrel on the week. In fact, oil was up 6.2% this week alone. And if you look at that chart, it is very, very powerful. I think we're going to take out the high, which is 85, I think, and change. I think we're going to take that out next week, and we're going to be north of $100 a barrel, I think, this quarter. And if not, then maybe by the first half of the year. But I think more likely in Q1, we'll be looking at $100 oil, and we may be closer to $150 a barrel by the end of the year than $100. And next year, I expect an all-time record high in the price of oil above $150 a barrel. So all of this is a tailwind for inflation, which means it's a big headwind for the economy. But again, also look at the delta between producer prices and consumer prices, where we have 9.7% increase in producer prices, but only a 7% increase in consumer prices. Consumers have been spared the full wrath of inflation because producers have been eating some of those price increases and not passing them on. But as I was saying all last year, I expect that to change this year because businesses need to recoup their costs. They need to protect their margins. And I think we're going to see businesses trying to catch up on the ground that they lost last year, which means consumers are in for an even bigger bout of inflation this year than last year. In fact, already, I think it was yesterday on Friday, Netflix announced an 11% increase effective immediately in their prices. I also read that Sherwin-Williams was increasing the prices of their products by 12%. Again, these are big price announcements early in 2022, which is exactly what I was saying to expect last year. But it's not just that inflation is speeding up, but the economy is already slowing down. Look at the numbers that we got on Friday. First, we got the consumer sentiment numbers. Last month, we were at 70.6. The consensus was for a slight drop to 70.4. Instead, we plunged down to 68.8. And the reason for the pessimism is surging inflation expectations. Consumers now expect inflation at 3.1%. That's the highest in 11 years.
Before we continue, help us clicking that YouTube like button and subscribe now to our channel. This shows the algorithm that you valued this information. And it helps us spread that message. Sharing is caring. And now
I have bad news for you. If you're not rich by now, you're screwed. And if you're in debt, you're even double screwed. How so, you might wonder? Well, the sad truth is that you're working your whole life to make someone else rich. The mega corporations, the banks, the politicians, everyone is getting richer. They get your money. And what is even worse, they get your time, they get your life. You are not even in a rat race, you're in a financial prison. But what could a solution for you look like? Honestly, I don't know, but I know what a solution for me would look like. It's very simple. I use whatever money I have and I multiply it with 1,000. This could make my life much easier and probably yours as well. If you have $1,000 available and multiply this with 1,000, I believe that this could solve some financial issue for the one or the other. Of course, if you're ugly, you would have to multiply it with much more than 1,000. My name is Markus Dahn, and this is what I decided to do. I decided to 1000x my money. This is not a joke. I know what you may be thinking. What is this guy talking about? How should this work? This is not possible. Well, I made a detailed video where I laid out my plan. And some clever folks might even want to look at this plan and copy it and do exactly what I do. This is just a little hint on the side. You have two options. You leave, you forget what you have seen. You do whatever you're doing and you hope that somehow you get some other results. Good luck with that. Or you click the link below the video. You enter your email address because I'm not showing this to everybody. You at least watch my video on how I plan to 1000x my money. The choice is yours. Make the right choice. Join me. See what a different future you could have. See at least how I intend, how I plan to do the 1000x. So click on the link below, enter your email address, and I see you on the other side. Your Markus Dahn.